Oh. Man, hear that echo in here. Deep in rural Pennsylvania, on a tract of state game land, lie the overgrown remains of 150 military bunkers. But this was not always game land. We are actually on the grounds of the former village of Alvira, a town seized by the United States government and demolished for the war. After entering World War II in 1941, the U.S. was in desperate need of as much war material that they could get their hands on. Regular viewers will recall that just about every factory we've ever explored switched their production over to something war-related during that time. Here in Pennsylvania, the Susquehanna Ordnance Depot was planned to store explosive munitions as well as a bomb-making factory. And the place they settled on was the small village of Alvira. First beginning life in 1825 as Wisetown, it was renamed to Alvira in the 1860s, and by 1942 it had grown to a town of over 100 people with schools, a gas station, blacksmith, church, and other businesses. That spring, the townspeople were gathered up and informed they had just 6 weeks to pack up their belongings and leave. Claiming eminent domain on 7,500 acres, they were told they would be able to purchase the land back for the same price they were paid for it after the war ended. Almost immediately, all buildings except for the stone church and the 2 town cemeteries were leveled and work began, which would total 300 buildings, 55 miles of road, 17 miles of train tracks, and the 150 storage bunkers. Something in this one. That is an old bucket. Yeah. That was a kind of open and closed slot where they could put stuff in for stuff that was sealed up. You could slide it in or talk to them at least through that while the doors was sealed. Oh, this one is sealed. Yeah, give it a tug. See if there's anybody living in there. Oh, okay. That's full of wood. Old farm equipment. Very nice graffiti all over. These bunkers were built to store the nearly 650 pounds of TNT being produced daily. Naturally, with that much explosives, they were needed to be kept somewhere safe and separated. Their igloo shape was designed so that in the event of an explosion, it could only travel upwards rather than outwards towards the surrounding bunkers, which were spread out far enough to prevent a domino effect. It's just... seems like you're in a big cave, which I guess you are, but... what do you suppose that was? It's not like a call box or anything because it's solid. Was it just like maybe a...
could have been a place where they had a small fire thing or
Yeah. The plant was opened almost 1 year later, but they quickly discovered they had overestimated the need for TNT in the war, and the plant shut down just 11 months after that. There's some older writing, like some stamps and stuff that they put on here that looks more like when it was actually in use. What it means, I don't know. Look at this. It's from 1944. Somebody signed their name. 1943. After sitting empty for 7 years, the 4,000 acres the factory sat on was given to the federal prison system for construction of the Allenwood Prison. It's a deep and murky hole. Another 7 years later, the 3,000 acres of bunkers was given to the state to create the game lands. Shotgun shells out here. This one's got a big old tractor tire. And what is that? Each one has more and more stuff in it. It's like an old chicken cage or something. Nice. And what do you suppose this was? Yeah, here was for water flow. Chair or something. Oh, this one's full of moths. Mothman up in here. Yeah, this must have been like the party one, because this looks like they had maybe even a fire here. They did. Hotbox themselves. There's a whole lamp. And windows. In the 80s, documents were released showing that 100,000 pounds of radioactive waste from the Manhattan Project were stored here for a short time. Recent tests showed that there was no lingering radioactivity in the area. Those are... What were those for? What a hay. Some old shelving units or something. Due to their damage-resistant nature, the bunkers are considered almost indestructible. Today, some sit sealed, while others are open for the curious. While the land is public, technically the bunkers themselves are off-limits.